Greetings everybody. Oh, this is going to be a grand old time. We're going to be watching EGIdrA, the Zerg on the top, going up against LiquidHuK, the Protoss on the right. The map is Scrap Station, and this is part of MLG Dallas 2011. This is part of the last and most recent replay pack that MLG did release. So this is exciting to find out another game of HuK and IdrA did happen. So I am so happy. I don't know when this was played. I don't know as part of what round or really anything about it. All I know is that it's IdrA versus HuK, and I want to see it because I did not get to see that much of MLG Dallas, which is rather unfortunate because of the fact that just complete and utter amazingness occurred at this tournament. And so to be able to watch this is great. Actually seeing IdrA going for a 10 Overlord, very interesting. Not going for the 9 Overlord, so right off the bat, IdrA is doing something very Korean. And we're seeing there's the Extractor, and we're seeing the Extractor trick. Yes, it is going to be cancelled. Another drone being produced, and we should be seeing a lot of drones coming out from IdrA really very soon. So now, what is HuK going to do, as he is one of the most aggressive, gateway unit-oriented players that I have ever seen, and he is just so solid with it. I do know that Liquid Tyler does consider HuK to be the best Protoss in North America, and rightfully so, as HuK is just, his aggression and effectiveness is really unmatched. He does a lot of cool things with game units that are supposedly to be underpowered by some, but this is going to be so cool to be able to watch and see what these guys are going to be doing in this next series. As HuK is going to go ahead and throw down a gateway on this 15 food count. Wow, so very late gateway, getting an immediate assimilator afterwards, but HuK is really droning up, and he hasn't. Oh, there's his probe. I actually didn't even see him send out the probe, but we are seeing him sending out an early probe as usual, and forcing IdrA to go for the spawning pool first, not going for the hatchery first like IdrA would really want. But here we're seeing drones being sent out to start attacking this probe. That is no doubt going to be very annoying. We're seeing IdrA sending them down slightly early to try and get out as much harassment as he really can, as these probes are running around and being as probes being trying to do as much as he can. Alright, so now there's the hatchery being thrown down by IdrA without really being delayed too much, just by 100 minerals or so no big deal over there. But this is great for IdrA, the fact that without getting that hatchery delayed by that much, he can really actually macro up a ton more than if he actually sent those drones on time. So great to see that. We're seeing HuK going to go ahead and continue his wall, cybernetic score. Probably going to want another building down here, but it's going to be a pylon just to have a 1 zealot wide choke. We're going to try to do something weirder, like probably a forge or something along those lines, just to be as beefy as you can. Just put the forge down in this spot, make sure he has 1 zealot wide choked on the left. He has a lot of options. You can see he's actually saving up his chrono boost. He could be going for a 4-gate. This is a very solid map to 4-gate on, and because you have this very wide choke, you can attack it on both sides, and it is on terms of PvP, you have to 4-gate on this map because of that choke. It's really that simple. So now we're going to go ahead and see HuK is going to go and choose to actually use a pylon to finish this wall off. Not going to use a forge or another gateway or along those lines to have a very strong wall off. Instead, going to go ahead and use that pylon. Chrono boosting out some probes, and there is another gateway. So we're seeing 2 gateways out so far from HuK. Very skimpy on the gateway count. Maybe wants to get an expansion. Probably feeling safe. Knows that IdrA does like to macro so much. So really, being skimpy on gateways is not a bad sign. And we are seeing actually a 3rd gate being thrown down now. So no longer on the skimpy gateway count. 3 gates is a very stable choice. And looks like IdrA might want to actually start fleeing this Overlord. It's in a good position to actually survive. HuK is getting out another sentry, so we could just be seeing a sentry expand from HuK. Very stable, very great move to do as a Protoss against Zerg. It's safe, and IdrA, who likes to macro, is not going to be probably putting on a ton of pressure against HuK, as HuK is probably going to start trying to kill off this Overlord or wall with a sentry. That's not exactly the best wall off ever, but hey. And he's actually going to lose that probe. He lost the probe. IdrA getting the probe. That is actually really going to be essentially delaying that expansion. We are seeing that there is another probe going ahead and it's phased through. It's actually not going to delay this Nexus by too much. You see HuK is actually continuing to spend his minerals in the meantime, so it actually is going to be fairly delayed. I'm going to mine off this mineral patch and then throw down the Nexus immediately. 6 minutes in, great timer for HuK to go ahead and do this. And now he's going to go ahead and I got hallucination immediately, as well as the warp gates. It's looking incredibly standard from him. Very standard. We are seeing that IdrA does have a bunch of Zerglings out on the field. He's continuing to spawn larvae, still only on 2 hatches. We are seeing that there's a roach one going down, and his hatchery has begun morphing into a lair. So this is looking to be a very solid game from both these guys, as HuK and IdrA are just being just standard. So we're going to see a large macro scale game. Very interesting play coming out from both players, as to be able to win in a standard play is incredibly impressive. The fact that you have got to be able to handle your units incredibly well. It looks like actually an Overlord was just picked off down there. Idria's got another Overlord over here. He's got Overlords really everywhere that he possibly can. Losing another one though, so actually supply blocked once more. So IdrA is losing a fair bit of units from HuK for free. HuK does have the +1 at a Forge researching as well. He's got a Hallucination just finishing, so he could just go ahead and make a Hallucinated Phoenix to start actually getting some scouting information for relatively free. As IdrA's lair is just finished, is going to go ahead and throw down the Hydra Den. Interesting choice. IdrA going for the Roach Hydra Force, it seems, as he's one of the players that I've noticed use Hydras to a lot, actually, in ZVP. Does a lot with drops. You can actually see he's getting pneumatized carapace, so right now, Vengeful Sax will probably start fairly soon, but he's going to Overlord speed first, which is interesting. When you want to go for a really in-depth, drop-oriented style play, you actually get Vengeful Sax first, because it takes longer, and then when Vengeful Sax is halfway done, you go ahead and get the pneumatized carapace to have a timeout so they finish at the exact same time. HuK is going to go ahead and get out this robot, and here we're seeing his first Hallucinated Phoenix. Going to go ahead and run around and do a fair bit of scouting. We're going to go ahead and see it's going to run by and see Evo Chamber being thrown down. IdrA does have control of his Watchtower with his Lings, and he's going to go ahead and actually get a full surround on all of these Stalkers. He could do a fair bit of damage with this. HuK is going to actually get what? HuK is going to go ahead and walk away from those Lings, but losing a one Stalker, taking a fair bit of damage. I noticed, this Stalker has 4 hit points left. So weak. So IdrA being very effective with those few Lings, go ahead and do a ton of damage to these Stalkers. So well done in that respect. We're seeing that HuK has actually scouted everything from IdrA. He's seen the Hydra Den is getting a lot of upgrades. The lair is done, enables Groove Spines as well as Glial Reconstitution. We are seeing the first couple Hydras on the field. These will destroy gateway units, which is great, as HuK definitely favors those gateway units. He has the robot out. He also likes to go Immortals as opposed to Colossi in some respects. So seeing Stalker Immortal is going to be very interestingly easily dealt with the fact that a lot of Hydras can do a ton of damage. IdrA's now getting up his third base. He's really looking solid. HuK is going to go ahead and actually scout for the third now with this Hallucinated Phoenix. And so now IdrA's expansion time is going to be very evident from the start. Alright, so now HuK has got +1 weapons finished. Probably going to want to see a Twilight Council and get out some Blink fairly soon. But HuK seems to actually be going for Colossi in this game. His Robotics Bay is almost done. You can see that his money is going to be high enough to get out the Colossus immediately upon this finishing up. There it is. Now once he gets 200 minerals, we'll probably see the Robotics Bay getting the Xanther Melancy. Yes, it is. So very nice from HuK. More gateways being thrown down as well. So actually increase his gateway count to 5 or so. And there we're going to see actually a Overlord going to get sniped. It looks like another Overlord is going to be sacrificed in by IdrA, but no, he's going to pull back. Knows that he's actually going to have not be able to do anything with it. Photon Cannon, the high card. Interesting move by HuK. This will be great. Infestor, Bird Infestor trying to run into his base will now be able to be seen and targeted, not to mention the fact that this helps in terms of defense in general. IdrA's been doing a good job with spreading his creep. Looks like HuK is continuing to break down these rocks. Using just his sentries though, so it's going to take a long time. Sentries only do 7 damage per attack with that +1, and with 3 shields, this is only 4 damage is being done per attack. IdrA's just blatantly seeing that this is happening. There's actually, a Zell is actually in the mix as well down there. So HuK with injured Stalkers, a single Colossus, Xanther Lance on the way, another Colossus out of the way as well. It looks like HuK is really, working on getting up his tech, working on getting up a solid army, upgrades as well. Still no Twilight Council though, not even producing one. But HuK is just going ahead and continue to chrono boost out these Colossi, and probably going to push once he has 2 or 3. It seems to be what he's chrono boosting out to. Let's just keep an eye on this. No extra upgrades coming out from this Forge. We could see another Colossus. Yes, there it is. HuK doing a good job of also knocking a supply block, just being very effective with the units that he has. IdrA has not even started mining from his third base quite yet. Kind of uncharacteristic. Will we be seeing any drones transfer? It's kind of what I would hope. Now we are seeing that this Spire is down, so we could be seeing Corruptors coming from IdrA. Just a matter of what he feels is necessary for that time. Now the Circle Rocks are also starting to be weakened. IdrA does have vision of this with this Creep Tumor. Blatantly knows that what is up with those with his rocks. And now HuK is starting to work with a large force. He can do a lot of damage, but IdrA is in a great position with a lot of Hydras and a lot of Roaches, just in a good position to take a gigantic concave and just wreck what HuK has in this. HuK is going to go ahead and actually scout this with his Hallucinated Phoenixes to just go down instantaneously to all those Hydras. HuK cannot push that push this attack through this middle. So 3 Colossi are on the field. Scouting pile, go ahead and see if IdrA's going to want to actually press through the middle of his own. We are seeing Corruptors out for him. He will be able to handle those Colossus with his Corruptors. Corruption and the like is going to be very effective. 3 more on the way. IdrA, though, still not using this base. He's basically using it as a macro hatch, essentially. He might just want to just select a few of these drones to get them down there and just start having them mine. HuK looks like he's actually going to start pressing the front. And oh no, his Colossi taking a lot of hits, trying to be aggressive with them, going to just poke off as much as he can, trying to hit what he can, but the problem is that here are some Corruptors. But it looks like HuK did a great job of just not losing too much health on the Colossi, pulling them back the last possible moment. He's looking very, very, very strong. He does still only have the +1 attack and still no Twilight Council on the field. He's actually now working on getting out some of these Immortals. As opposed to Colossi, he's got 3 Colossi, and it looks like that's what he's going to stick with. A lot of Stalkers, a huge amount of Stalkers, and this Photon Cannon is still here on the high ground. Looks like HuK is now taking his 3rd base, which is getting blatantly seen by IdrA's Overlord down here, which could easily get taken out by HuK. But HuK is choosing instead to just get up this base and try and deal with IdrA's Roach Hydra force down here in the center. Getting scouting of the army's placement down here. It looks like HuK might actually choose to press the middle. Looks like it's not going to be the case. IdrA just has too much vision for HuK to really do a ton. Looks like Corruptors are going to try and poke around, see if they can pick off a Colossus, or at the very least just get a scout. 10 Corruptors can do a lot of damage against any Colossi. Looks like HuK is finally going to go ahead and take out this Overlord, but IdrA is maxed. IdrA is officially at max food. His upgrades are looking solid. He's got the +1 missile attacks, getting the +2 as well, but just starting that's going to be done for a while. He might want to engage, as he is maxed and the HuK is not. The longer he waits, the stronger HuK is going to be. He really should be aggressive to try and take out as much as he can from the army that HuK is really doing. So here we have all these Roaches going to probably doing a huge attack. Good concave. Going to be probably forced to cancel on this Nexus. It's going down, and it's not getting canceled. It's there we go, finally getting canceled by HuK. So HuK does finally cancel, but it looks like 3 Colossi and now Immortals, 2 Immortals, a lot of Stalkers, and looks like this Nexus will go ahead and get rebuilt now. IdrA is still at max food, but he's not attacking the front. He's producing a few Corruptors. Looks like he's finally getting the mine from his 3rd base. He's getting the gold base during this attack as well, which is great. He's forcing HuK to try and hang back, but HuK is scarily continuing to approach max food. Alright, so he's got an observer in the mix and see everything that's happening. Looks like he's just halting this unit productions with that observer. Looks like he's supply blocked right now. Chrome sending out supply blocked Immortal. That's rather unfortunate. It's kind of worthless to say the least. But HuK is getting close to mined out actually in his main base. You can see his mineral patches are some are actually under 260 in this mineral patch alone. But attacking the front back here, looks like HuK is continuing to be good with his force fields. All these Corruptors are taking down the Colossi. IdrA still has a large concave, but looking at this, HuK took losses, and judging by the food count, it looks like IdrA only lost 4 Roaches or something. It's at 190 food. Now actually maxing once more, using 19 Hydras. The DPS is going to be crazy, but great job reinforcing with Hydras as opposed to Roaches. He's killed all the Colossi, which means Hydras are going to be incredibly powerful, but HuK is continuing to put on the aggression of a ton. These Immortals are in the back. All these Roaches are continuing to push the front, but HuK is he's just taking a lot of damage. He's now just losing so many units. IdrA's got so many Hydras streaming. The problem is that HuK has got a concave now, and his Hydras are going to take out that Immortal, which is great. Immortals are a great food supply eater up for Protoss, because they're so powerful. And now IdrA's continuing to attack, but HuK has got the concave. IdrA does not. He's still streaming with more and more units, though. So he's just taking out units from HuK's. And IdrA does have the +2 attack at this point. He's continuing to wreck HuK's face. The problem is that HuK just has too many units. Immobile Hydras off of creep against the mobile Stalkers of HuK off creep is really allowing HuK to do as much damage as he can. Roaches are now coming in once more, but HuK is only mining with his 3rd base with this single with a single probe, and now Lings are trying to do a little bit of damage, but really HuK took a lot of losses. But IdrA is continuing to stream in more units. 20 Lings, 6 Hydras, and a Roach are coming in, and we'll say this might actually be forcing IdrA back by just reinforcing and continue to put on the aggression. HuK is having to deal with a ton of units. IdrA is just continuing streaming in units, not building any approach. It's just Lings, Hydras, a few Roaches, but Lings and Hydras just come in, and IdrA is just continuing to get more and more and more. Going to actually work on taking down this Nexus, and then GG and good luck in the rest of the tournament. So HuK goes ahead, and IdrA is going to go ahead and move on past HuK, but HuK is actually continues saying is I don't think he's actually left the game quite yet. Looks like HuK is just see, he might have actually left the game. It's just the replay is still going though. So IdrA goes ahead and is going to go ahead and emerge victorious, unless HuK is actually still in this. Is HuK still in this? It looks like he actually might not be, but the timer is still going on. So weirdly enough, don't know what's going on in this game, but the game is done. HuK has emerged defeated, sadly, but still HuK is a great player. IdrA is victorious.